Shalom, peace be unto you. Hope everyone is doing well. This is your brother once again coming to you with another informative and also entertaining video, and also for educational purposes. Like I said, we do not, and I do not give legal advice. This is just for educational and entertainment and informative information only. Well, today we're going to look at a very controversial topic. It's written in the Bill of Rights, and it's known as the Second Amendment. What is the Second Amendment? Well, it starts by saying a well-regulated militia is necessary for a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is very, very important. We have to first look at the history, why this was put into the Constitution. When the framers of the Constitution came from Great Britain, of course, during the Revolutionary War, they needed arms to resist the tyranny of King George of England. Okay? As a matter of fact, that's what the 4th of July, 1776 was all about. And every year when Americans celebrate the 4th of July, it's used to be shown the display of fireworks. Why fireworks? The fireworks resembled the bombs and the shooting and the explosives that took place during the American Revolutionary War against Great Britain. Now, the framers, when they came here, coming from England, they were used to somehow a dictate from the kings. In this case, it was King George. So if one look at the Constitution, the framers, they wrote about their disagreement, taxation without representation. They were denied due process. People's property were taken away from them without a common law court of law. People were exiled without due process, etc. Now, that's why they wrote the Constitution, to kind of like put government in check and to say to the government, look, you're off limits when it comes to the people's rights. Okay? Now, it's good. All of those amendments and articles that they wrote was fine. The problem with it was this. They knew that even though they put these writings in place, tyrants have the ability of ignoring them. Okay? And they put even a voting process in the Constitution. So people could vote and they could get rid of who they want to get rid of, and they could put in who they want to put in power. The problem is when tyrants are ready to show their tyrannical behavior, they don't care about who the people vote for or who the people did not vote for. They rule by force. So what the framers did, they realized to defend the constitutional writings and the amendments that they put in place, they have to have physical arms to protect, to back up the written amendments or the written articles. So they put the Second Amendment. Now, the Second Amendment, right, the right to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Infringe means exactly what it says. The government have no jurisdiction to interfere with the people keeping and bearing arms. Now, what is keeping? Keeping is ownership. Bearing is carrying it on person. So the Constitution, the Second Amendment to the Bill of Rights, protects the American right to keep, meaning to own, and to bear, carry it on their persons, arms. And the reason why they did that is just in case in the future the people come against a tyrannical, evil, demonic government, and the people try to get them out by the ballots and they will not move, then the people can overthrow them by force. As a matter of fact, it's written in the Constitution, I think it's in Article 3, where it states that it's not, when the government become tyrannical, and treasonous, it's not the duty anymore. It's not a right anymore, but it's the duty of the people to overthrow them and put in a government for, of, and by the people. Okay, it's all about the people. Okay, this is a republic. It's all about self-government. Now, I heard many people in the past saying, well, people don't need certain weapons for hunting and stuff like that, and rifles and all of that stuff. People, that's not what the Second Amendment was for. It was not for hunting. Okay? let's be frank with you. It was put in there just in case the people come across their government becoming tyrannical and try to usurp or destroy their freedom, and the ballot doesn't work, then the people can remove them by force and put in a government of, for, and by the people. That's the reason why. Because throughout history, it has been proven that tyrants cannot rule an armed populace. Okay? The first things tyrants have to do is they have to disarm the population before they could rule them with tyranny. Okay? So over the years, as we notice right here, America has become the last bastion of freedom, so to speak, in the sense of American people love their arms, okay? They love their freedom. American people love their freedom and they keep their arms. Also, as any type of self defense, okay? It's very, very important. And there's a move I've seen over the years where they're trying to disarm the people through different strategies. We see a lot on the news, a lot of gun violence, and they're blaming it on, believe it or not, law-abiding gun owners. And that is not right. And one of the things that they try to do is to turn the population, so to speak, against people who are armed, to try to get them in on their side, to kind of go against gun ownership. But people, educate yourselves. The reason why they are doing this is not what you think. Why they are doing this, they want to disarm the population so that they can put the people into perpetual slavery, okay? And then they could rule them as tyrants. The people have a right, all the people have a right, to stand up to anyone that is violating their rights and telling them that, look, we're going to remove you out of office and we're going to put in office by the ballots, by a vote, we put in a people that will stand up for our rights. And that's what the Constitution is for. Peaceful transition of power. Like I said, however, the framers put the Second Amendment with the intent that if the tyrants with their tyrannical agenda does not want to live and want to enslave the American people could get rid of them and put in a people who could protect their rights. Now, a lot of people are believers like myself, there's also a lot of debate in the Bible believing community. Some people disagree with keeping physical arms. The argument is, well, if you believe in the Almighty, why do you need physical harms and stuff like that? Well, let me tell you something, people. That is a nullity. Let me tell you why. Because when we study the scriptures, for example, Abraham, our father, Abraham, the patriarch, the first Hebrew that crossed over the Euphrates, when they kidnapped his nephew Lot, you remember what Abraham did? And this was when he was walking with the Almighty, when he was called and chosen by the Almighty. You remember what he did in Genesis? He gathered 318 of his servants and he armed them and he went to war against the wicked enemies that captured his son Lot, and he slaughtered them and he rescued his son, okay? And this was a man who was called by the Almighty. We see further on the children of Israel, the Almighty command them over and over, arm all the men 20 years of age and up and gather them for battle, okay? This was the Almighty commanding his people to take up physical arms. So when people say, well, being a believer in the Almighty, you don't need physical arm, that's not true, okay? We see also, some people say, well, that's in the Old Testament. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you something. The Prince of Peace himself, the Messiah, Yahushua, our Savior, he said something very astonishing in Luke chapter 22, starting at verse 36. Then said he unto them, but now he that had a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that had no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. So here's the Messiah telling his Talmudim, his disciples, his student, after he gave them a role of prophetic things that's going to take place. He said to them, whosoever doesn't have a sword, sell your cloak and make sure you buy one. What was the sword in those days? That was their weapon. So he was saying to them, those who don't have a weapon, a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. Okay? In other words, there's a time and a place for everything under the sun. As the book of Ecclesiastes says, a time for peace and a time for war. A time to live and a time to die. A time for everything under the sun. Okay? So this is just a small video, a short video to let us know the real purpose why the Second Amendment is very important and why it was put in place. As a matter of fact, there is a lot of attention being put on the Second Amendment over the last few years, and the powers to be, a lot of them are trying to get rid of it, so to speak, to disarm the people. Now the question is, why would they try to disarm the people? Why? It's because they have bad agenda. Okay? Not everybody in power is against Second Amendment. There's a lot of people in power who are for the Second Amendment. But like I said, there is a very dangerous group who is trying to disarm the people. So people, like I said, it's up to you, depending on how you're led. It's a right. It's a right. And this right, it should not be taxed. No right can be licensed or taxed. A lot of the states have this thing where people have to get a permit or a license. A permit just means a permission. People should not have to have a permission to carry out or exercise a constitutional, unalienable, protected right. You cannot license a right. Okay? Next thing they're going to do, they're going to say, we have to pay a license to breathe, license to speak. And where does it stop? Licenses are not to be granted for rights. Okay? Cannot guarantee these people don't have anything bad in their planning. So until then, brothers and sisters, and the patriotic Americans who loves the Constitution and want to see the best for their people, just keep on fighting and keep your government officials in check. Okay? So until then, have a blessed day. Peace and love. Shalom unto you all.